So let's get into it a little. How can educators actually help? Let's talk about students as they prepare for standardized tests like the SAT. And it's important to note here that you have a personal story attached to this, turning your, I'll say, average SAT into a perfect SAT score. How did you do it, and how can educators help others?
So when I was in high school, I raised my own SAT score 640 points. To your point, from average to perfect, it completely changed my life in terms of college acceptances and scholarships. And students can do the same by having educators support them through two keys. One is helping them practice on official standardized tests produced by the test makers. So for the SAT, that's the College Board. For the ACT, that's ACT Inc. And then going over key test taking strategies like how to answer algebra questions faster, how to read passages faster. These are things that are typically not taught in high school, but educators really should teach them to help students ace these exams.
You know, you mentioned scholarships, and I got to say, a lot of people watching might say, well, I can't afford to go to these big companies to have SAT prep and all of that. How does that student try to get their scores to where they need to be to stand out?
Yeah, there are so many free and low cost resources now. So there are dozens and dozens of free practice tests released by the College Board for the SAT, as well as by ACT Inc. for the ACT. In terms of low cost resources, I have a book called Prep Expert Digital SAT Playbook. You can find it on Amazon for as low as $9.99. And so students really don't need a whole lot of resources. I actually went to the library myself and used free SAT prep books. So it just takes motivation and a little bit of discipline. And it doesn't always take a whole lot of money.
Last question, let me just ask you, say I'm not a great test taker, right? What can those students do to stand out, not just when it's time to apply to college, but all the way through so they don't get overlooked?
Yeah, beyond test scores, there's a lot of ways to stand out in the college admissions process, not just academics and test scores. It's things like getting involved in your community, doing community service, leadership, engagement, and really showing what you want to do in your future career and how you're going to impact society in a beneficial way. So there are so many different ways that students can stand out, even if they're not the best standardized test takers or academically.